And they will bring their sons to the Mashiach. Not only their sons, but their silver and gold. And they will lay them at the foot of the name of Yahweh.
Amen.
They will lay their possessions, not for their children, who, if they're lucky, and we don't believe in luck, may grow up and call them once a year. Maybe. Or twice a year. I'm sorry. This is real life. This is a dose of reality. I know your children love you now because they fall down, they break their knee, they break their whatever, and they need a little help. But when they grow up, it's not always going to be that way. And if it is, you're blessed. You're blessed, but it's not always going to be that way for most of us. I'm just being honest with you. Just keeping it real. Dude, keeping it real, dog. Just like what that dude on Island. Just keeping it real, dog. Keeping it real. Randy Jackson.
No.
To bring your sons from far, and the sons are coming with silver and gold. They're not coming bankrupt. But notice the name of the gold is reserved for the name of Yahweh, not the name of Jesucristo and Iglesia de Dios. Notice verse 10. And the sons of foreigners will build your walls, and Melachim will serve you, Yeshua. For in my wrath I smote you, but in my favor I had rachamim on you. Notice, the material wealth and the possessions that Yahweh gives us are to extend the covenant, Deuteronomy 8:17, not just to Israel, but to foreigners who desire to join us. You know why you're here today? You know why you're being raised up? You know why you're maturing? You know why you're growing in the things of Yahweh? Because there were others who came before us and laid down their gold, they laid down their silver to build this place, to provide for this place, to decorate this place, and now you walk in and you are a beneficiary of all those who brought their wealth, their gold and their silver to the Master to be redistributed for his commonwealth. Does any of this make sense? It makes so much sense I feel like dancing. The troubling hip prohibits me from dancing, but I feel like dancing. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So that ultimately, Yahweh gives us what he gives us. Everything is considered wealth. This is wealth. This is wealth. Think about it. We could be writing with charcoal. Right? This is wealth. Everything Yahweh gives us is considered wealth, not only to be distributed for the commonwealth of Israel, but notice, look at verse 10, to bring strangers, the sons of foreigners, to build up the walls of Israel, and their kings, foreign kings, will serve Yeshua, and their wealth and their possessions will be the commonwealth. Now again, in order for this message to benefit you, if you hear the word wealth, please don't think opulence. Don't think rich. No, we need a redefinition of the word wealth. From heaven's perspective, that's where Yahweh sits. Yahweh sits in heaven. He sees things from heaven's perspective. From heaven's perspective, Yahweh looks down and he goes, all my children are rich. We're the ones who say, no, that's not true, Yahweh. We have lack. We don't have everything we need. Yahweh says, that's right. I'm not blind. You don't have everything you need because there's been too much going to your biological family and to your biological stomach, and not enough going for the commonwealth of Israel. I'm telling you how to get rich if you'll only listen. It's not in careers, it's not in diplomas. It's not in post-grad, new grad, undergrad, or left grad. Or Petrograd. Todah Rabbi Yahweh.
Amen.
Now you're getting souped up. Tov. Tov.
Yes,
Soup me up, Rabbi. Micah 4:13. Micah. Micha mocha. Who is like Yahweh? Micha. Micah. Micah. If you have a page, there it is, 494, in the latest edition. Todah Rabbi Yahweh. I said Todah Rabbi Yahweh. I said Todah Rabbi Yahweh. I said Todah Rabbi Yahweh. Look at this, 494, Micah 4:13. It's getting even deeper. Micah 4:13. Arise and thresh them, O daughter of Zion. For I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hoofs brass. Your tough life, I'll turn it around. I'll bring you the possessions you need. You will beat in pieces many nations.
Wow!
And I will dedicate their gain and their wealth to the master of the whole earth. In other words, get up, Zion. I will make your horn iron. I will make your hoofs brass. You will beat in pieces many nations, and all their gain will be dedicated to the name of Yahweh, and their wealth to the master of the whole earth. So now gather yourself in troops. The word Gad, the tribe of Gad, is troops. Gather yourself in troops, O daughter of the troops of Israel, because he has laid siege against us, that's the enemy, and they will smite the Shofet of Israel with a rod upon the cheek, that's Yeshua. But you, Bethlehem Ephratah, though you are little among the thousands of Yehuda, yet out of you he will come the Mashiach, and will come forth to me, to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth has been from old, for everlasting. Now remember, in the scriptures there were no chapters. Remember that? There were no verses, and there were no chapters. So verse 13 of Micah 4 goes into Micah 5:1, and here's what Yahweh is saying. The wealth of the world, or the pagan nations, belongs to and for the message of the one to be born in Bethlehem. The wealth of the nations belong to and for the one to be born in Bethlehem. If you go from 13, Micah 4:13, to Micah 5:1 and 2, remember, there are no chapters in the original scriptures. The wealth is coming to Yeshua, and Yeshua will distribute it to those in Israel who have purposed to be good stewards and distribute it for the commonwealth of Israel. In other words, let me bring it down to home. As long as you only take care of your wife and kids, it ain't happening. You're going to be a working class hero for the rest of your life. Yahweh hasn't called you to be a working class hero.
Amen.
He's called you to be a king's kid. That John Lennon song still plays in my ear.
Yes, sir.
Years and years later. It was full of profanity, but it still plays in my ear. I can't get it out! A working class hero is something to be. I won't sing it because I'll be taken off the air. Okay? That's where I'm stopping. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a working class person, but if we're kings and priests and we're just struggling to get by, we've got to find other Israelites and establish the covenant in their life. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then Yahweh will give you a second home or a summer home or an extra this or an extra that. But take care of his sheep first, and all these things, and his people, and all these things will be added to you. I knew someone who didn't work and couldn't work because they were sick, but they never lacked, they never needed any provision because Yahweh always provided, because that person always took care of Yahweh's people first in her life, even when she was in pain, and even when she was dying. I've never seen this principle fail. I've never seen this principle fail. We fail the principle. But the principle doesn't fail. So I'd rather be the giver than the receiver. You'd rather be the giver than the receiver. Because the words of Yeshua are true. It is more blessed to give than to receive. And that takes a whole lifetime of experientially finding that out to be true. Hey man, I know you're willing to pay me. I know you're willing to do these things, but I want to serve Yahweh for free. I want to serve Yahweh no charge. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. But would it be for the common good of the people? Probably. And if it is, you're going to have more than you would have had if you got paid. If it's for the common good of the people. Baruch Hashem.
Amen.
Yahweh. Todah Rabah Yahweh. To give and leave most of our means for the Holy One of Israel, not only for our wife and children. Zechariah 14:14. Zechariah 14:14. Is anyone enjoying?
Amen.
Zechariah 14:14. Todah Rabah Yahweh. I love Yahweh because He hears my prayer. I love Yahweh, hears my cry. Zechariah 14:14. And Yehudah also shall fight at Yerushalayim, and the wealth of all the surrounding nations, that's Islam, all the Islamic nations who fight Yerushalayim in the latter days, shall be gathered together, their gold, their silver, their garments in great abundance, and given to the Jewish people. Now notice, the end-time Islamic beasts come to war against Yerushalayim, and in the process of trying to destroy Jerusalem and Jewish Israel, Yahweh says, now stop right there. I want to know right now, before you go any further, do you love the Jews? Do you keep my commandments, you dreck? You don't. You hate the Jews. Now cough up your money. So in the process of trying to destroy Israel, Yahweh is going to ransack all the wealth of Islam as they try to destroy Yerushalayim and encompass Yerushalayim, and Yahweh goes, now cough it up. Turn over all your gold and all your silver for the Jewish people that you are trying to destroy. Look at that, in the last days. Now wait a second, people want to know. If Yeshua won't, how many know Yeshua will not be working in the Atid Lavo? He won't be taking the bus to work. Okay, he's not going to be looking at the classifieds of the Sun Sentinel. So how will the kingdom operate? With what funding? Is Yahweh going to send down chicken golden nuggets from a heavenly McDonald's in the kingdom and say, eat? Daryl's saying, I wish that were true. He's shaking his talit, he's getting so no. This is how the millennial is funded, with the dinero of los Islamicos. They come against Yerushalayim to destroy Yerushalayim, and Yahweh says, give me that money. I am finding stewards who have been faithful in their service to the Commonwealth of Israel, like Brit and others, and I'm going to give it to them, and they're going to fund Yeshua's kingdom for 1,000 years. Think about that while I have a sip. The millennial kingdom has to be funded. When Yeshua was on earth for 33 and a half years and he came in his first parousia, it had to be funded. And who funded it? The stewardess of Herod, the women of Means, the Talmidot of Means. Somebody funded his first coming, and his millennial kingdom will be funded not by Israelite money. Israelite money funds the kingdom now. We take care of each other now in the Commonwealth of Israel. But when Yeshua returns, guess who's paying the bills and the light bills in the millennial kingdom in the Atid Lavo? That's right, Los Islamicos. Cough it up, baby. Cough it up, because you guys are going to fund our kingdom. Come on, somebody. Give him praise in the house of Yahweh today. You think about what I'm telling you. That's how the millennial kingdom is funded. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Go to Tehillim 49. Tehillim 49. The troubling money factor in Israel. It's only troubling if we don't get into a new mindset. Then it's troubling. How do I pay my bills? How am I going to survive? We walk by faith, not by sight. We walk by faith, not by sight. We walk by emunah, not by sight. Tehillim 49:6. Where Yahweh guides, He always provides. Where Yahweh guides, He always provides. Yahweh's work done Yahweh's way never lacks Yahweh's provision. Yahweh's work done Yahweh's way never lacks Yahweh's provision. If Yahweh's not providing, it's either not His work, or it is His work, but it's not being done His way. So if things are not working out in my life or in your life, you need to say, A, is this Yahweh's work? If it is it Yahweh's way? Yahweh's work done Yahweh's way never lacks Yahweh's provision. Tehillim 49, verses 6 through 7. They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother or give to Elohim a ransom for him. For the redemption of their being is precious, and it ceases le'olam va'ed. What is Yahweh saying? That wealth or means is to establish the redemption of Yeshua in the earth. Because none of us can redeem another person, none of us can redeem another human being apart from the covenant established by Yeshua. And we see that in verses 10 through 12. The wise men die, the fools die, so on and so on. So, the wealth is not for ourselves. Notice, the redemption of their being is precious, and it ceases leolam voed. In other words, the redemption of others is so precious that no one can pull it off other than Yeshua, but in order for that message to be proclaimed, we need to have a commonwealth principle. Does that make sense? In other words, you can't save your brother. You can't save your mother. You can't save your family member. The redemption of their being is precious, so that only who? Only Yeshua can do it. So what is your job? To make sure Yeshua's brit is established in the earth. He's given you the power to get things to make sure that his brit is established in the earth. You get that? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Look at verse 10. He sees wise men die, fools and senseless people perish, and leave their wealth to others. Let me read that again in case you're on. In case you had too much green tea this morning and you can't pay attention. That doesn't make sense. Green tea should help you pay attention. What am I saying? What on earth am I saying? Look at this. For he that sees wise men die, likewise fools and senseless people perish, and leave their wealth to others. In other words, are you taking the things you have to establish Yeshua's redemption, because no man can redeem anybody else, only Yeshua's message can redeem others? Are you using your things, not wealth means things, anything. Are you using your things to bring redemption, or are you one of those fools and stupid people who leave your wealth to your children? I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you just like it is. I'm going to tell you just like it is. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. Leave, distribute your means now for the commonwealth of Israel. If you seek that method, all the things you need, pension, 401k, school, clothes, food, they'll all be added to you. They'll all be added to you. Can I hear a good amen? Let's go quickly. Mishlei, and we could preach on those 4 verses for 2 days. I'm not going to do that. Mishlei 13:11. The word of Yahweh is never old. It's never tired. I preached this last week, and somehow this week it has a new freshness, a new vivacity, a new life to it. Tadara by Yahweh. I'm seeing things this week I didn't see last week. Mishlei 13:11. Mishlei 13:11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathers by laboring for the gospel shall increase. That's the contrast between vain wealth and kingdom wealth. Wealth gotten by vanity, meaning for any purpose other than establishing the covenant, Deuteronomy 8:17, will be diminished. But he that gathers by laboring for Yeshua's kingdom shall increase. Yah honored, and I want to say this, Yah honors your heart being for the commonwealth, not the amount. We're not talking about the amount here. We're not talking about how much money you have and you distribute for the commonwealth of Israel. That's not the issue. Remember the widow's 2 mites? Remember the widow's mites? Yeshua said she gave for the commonwealth of Israel. Was it not the temple treasury, or was it Catholic Charities? It was the temple treasury. Hello? Temple, people of Israel, temple, common good, commonwealth. She said she gave more than all the Prushim and the Tzadukim, because from her poverty she gave into the kingdom. So I'm not talking about how much, I'm talking about motive. What you have is to be redistributed only in the household of faith. Not in the church, not in Islam, only redistributed for the good of others in the household of faith. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Praise Yahweh is right. Mishlei 18:4. Mishlei 18:4. The words of a man's mouth are deep mayim, and the wellspring of chokhmah as a flowing brook, and that is not what I wanted. Let's try 19:4. Mishlei 19:4. I made the same mistake last week. Mishlei 19:4. Wealth makes many chaverim. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Money, wealth makes many chaverim, but the poor is separated from his neighbor. Notice, the material things in our life, wealth, that's a principle. Turn to your neighbor and say that's a principle. That's a principle. Wealth makes friends. Can we agree with that? That's a principle. Wealth makes friends. So since that's an irreversible principle, let's use that principle to make friends, not for ourselves, but to make friends for our master. Since wealth makes friends, that's a principle. Can't reverse that principle. Proverbs 19:4, can't reverse that principle. So let's use the things Yahweh has given us to make friends for Him. Another way of saying establishing the covenant. It's another way of saying the same thing. Make sense? Make sense? Tov. Todah Rabah Yahweh. Ruth 2:1. Don't turn there for the sake of time. Ruth 2:1. The man Boaz, who had Yahweh's blessing. How did he have Yahweh's blessing? Was he rich or poor? Boaz. He was rich. He owned a field. He was a wealthy, he was a man of means. What did he do with it? He turned it into a theme park and charged admission, right? How many believe Boaz turned his field into a theme park and charged admission? Can I see your hand, please? He didn't do that. What did he do? He took that field and he used it to establish Israelite seed and said to the Israelites, hey, I got a field, and according to Torah, I have to leave the what? The payot, or the what? The corners, the payot, the corners of the field for the poor and those who lack in Israel. And lo and behold, because he obeyed Torah, came Naomi and her daughter-in-law Ruth. And Naomi says, you ought to catch a husband. Here's how to catch a husband. You don't need to go to harmony.com. Alright? Fill out a profile. No, man, when you serve Yahweh, Yahweh wants to give you a good wife and a good husband and good marriage. And so just lay down in the fields of a Torah keeper. And that Torah keeper found her gleaning in his field, did good to her, and raised up seed in Israel by taking a foreigner, Ruth, bringing her into his Israelite covenant. He used his field to establish the covenant. Does that make any sense? He used that field to bring a foreigner and to establish the covenant. Isn't that what we read in Isaiah chapter, what was it before? Chapter 60? Yahweh will use the wealth of those getting saved to establish the covenant even to the foreigners and the strangers who are coming to him and coming to the things of Israel. Think about what I'm telling you. Boaz was righteous and honored and put into the lineage of the Mashiach along with a foreigner, a Moabitess named Ruth, because he brought her not into aggrandizement, but into the covenant and the lineage of Mashiach. Boaz sought the common good of the community. Hello? Was he already rich? Was he already wealthy? But he used that to bring the foreigner into the lineage of the Mashiach and to bring strangers to the name of Yahweh. Isaiah 60, verses 9 through 11. Boy, I'm preaching good today. I ought to take more vacations. I mean, so he had a field, he had possessions, but he used it not to get more fields, but to take Moabites, stick them in the field, and turn them into Israelites and establish the covenant. That's why Yahweh has given you possessions. To take foreigners and to establish the covenant in their lives. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Vincent. We must do likewise. We need an immediate and total paradigm shift. Seeing everything and all things as things to expand or provide for the kingdom. If we are going to succeed in this, we must determine to renew our mind, listen, and to swim a lifetime against the stream of self-aggrandizement and the pursuit of vain opulence. Example, do I buy a car for the community, for the synagogue, or for my adult child? I'm giving you an example. Do I buy a car for the synagogue or for my child? That's something practical. Most of us would first buy the car for the child. True? Okay. Don't give me that look. I'm just telling you the truth. I might do the same, but that's what I'm saying. We are called to swim against that tide. By swimming against that inclination, we establish the covenant. You understand what I'm saying? Another example. Do we buy a Torah for a synagogue or a new toy for our child? You know there are a lot of parents that wouldn't blink an eye buying a $1,000 toy for their child? But ask them to buy a Torah for the synagogue? $1,000? No way. Don't turn, well, yeah, go ahead and turn there. Esther 10:3. Yeah, it takes a paradigm shift. Absolutely. It takes a shift in understanding. Understanding how to become financially secure in the things of Yahweh. Swimming against the tide. Esther 10:3. Is anyone enjoying? 634. Esther, Hadassah, 10:3. How many have ever heard of Mordechai the Yehudi in the account of Purim? There are no stories in the Bible, there's only accounts, right? You've heard of Mordechai? You know why Mordechai's name is great to this day? You know why Mordechai's name is great to this day? Because look at his attitude, verse 3. For Mordechai the Yehudi was second to Melech Achashverosh, and great among the Yehudim, and accepted by the multitude of his brothers, seeking to own the first Burger King in Medo-Persia. Why is Mordechai great to this day? He tried to open the first pita stand, right? In Medo-Persia, right? Wrong. Because it wasn't that he was Esther's uncle, no. It was he sought the wealth of Israel. And speaking benefit, shalom, and blessings and abundance to their seed forever. And to this day, we bless the name of blessed Mordechai, and we curse the name of cursed Haman. To this day. Why? Because he only sought the welfare and the wealth. The common wealth. Common. Is this too heavy for you? The common wealth. And when we seek the commonwealth of Yahweh's people, we are speaking shalom to all the seed of Yeshua. We're just getting started. Divrei Hayamim Bet, 2 Chronicles 1:10. I said we're just getting started. 2 Chronicles 1:10. You know why we're just getting started? Because I'm tired, yes, of dead preachers, preaching dead sermons, to dead congregations. 2 Chronicles 1:10. Divrei Hayamim Bet 1:10. Divrei Hayamim Bet 1:10. Solomon Shlomo is about to ascend the throne of Israel. of the United Tabernacle of David. And he says in verse 10, give me now chokhmah and da'at, wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this great people. For who can judge this, your people that is so great? And Elohim said to Melech Shlomo, because this was in your lay of your heart, and you have not asked riches or wealth or honor or life of your enemies, neither have you asked for long chayim for yourself, but I've asked for wisdom, chokhmah, and da'at, knowledge, for yourself, that you may rightfully judge my people, over whom I have made you melech. Wisdom, chokhmah, and da'at, knowledge has been granted to you. And I will give you riches, wealth, and honor, as none of the melachim have had before you, and none of the melachim will have after you. Why? Because you did not seek your own, but the own of others in the kingdom, that you would do them right, that you would do them justice, that you would rule over them with equity, that you would be an honorable shofet. Notice, Melech Shlomo, because your motives are pure and they are kingdom inclined, not for your own wealth, but for the commonwealth of Israel, Yahweh released to Melech Shlomo the greatest portion of Yahweh's goods that was ever released to a human being. Did you get that? If you take care of your brother and you take care of your sister more than your biological children, that's a challenge. I understand that's a challenge, but that's the road to being a Shlomo in the king. Yahweh said, because you didn't ask for your own money market and for your own stock certificates and for your own bonds, therefore you will have more than any Israelite who ever lived. Take that to the bank. And he did. He took that to the bank. In a greater way than anybody who got... Did he have 4 jobs or 3? How many jobs did Melech Shlomo have? Huh? None. Because his heart and his motives were kingdom inclined. You getting this, Darryl? You can be rich without a job. Take care of Yahweh's people and he'll take care of you.
Amen. Amen.
This is the greatest guarantee ever written. This is a guarantee. Instead of coming into the shul every week, now I'm going to be preaching at some people. Too bad. Instead of coming to the synagogue every week, we should come to give. Give. You have nothing to give?
Amen.
Take something that you need and give it away. Shlomo went to the bank more than any other Israelite who ever lived, because he didn't ask for bigger barns. He asked for the wisdom and the knowledge to do right by Britt, and to do right by Janet, and to do right by his brother, to share and distribute for the common good. And Mordechai sought the commonwealth of Israel, and to this day we bless the name of Mordechai and we curse the name of Haman. Despite Solomon's Meshugayim, 700